Hello, our people. Welcome to the Girl Boy Games podcast, where I, Lucas Leander, aka the Bearded Panda, and Mele Pentilla, aka melthemaneater, discuss all things gaming with the occasional amazing guest. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Our first podcast. We've been talking about it all today.
Yes.
We've been excited.
We've been pumped.
Pumped. A new topic that, for us, is very near and dear to our hearts.
We're passionate about it.
Yes, handheld gaming.
Oh,
But before we
get into the juice.
we're gonna get into the juice, the juice of it, the juice of the hands.
And before we get into that, let me talk to you about our non-sponsor today, Olipop.
Oh, Olipop.
Olipop is an amazing probiotic. Is it pre or probiotic?
Both. I don't know. I have no idea.
Olipop is an amazing prebiotic
Soda that's made out of yogurt.
That's
Tastes great.
and that's what it looks like when we do an ad for you. Sponsor us, Olipop.
But before we start our real intro,
Yeet.
if you enjoy what you're hearing, please drop us a follow on your preferred podcast platform. If you want even more content, consider following our YouTube channel at girlboygames, our Twitter at girlboygamesyt, and our TikTok at girlboygamesyt. That might change, so stay tuned and for even more hilarious clips.
And eventually, we won't be reading it off of our top monitor.
Yeah, eventually we'll just be saying it. It's gonna be crazy.
This is crazy.
So, basically, what has happened is a lot of handheld news.
Yes.
First thing that happens, Asus comes out. It's like, hey, yo, what if we made a Steam Deck that's probably going to be way more expensive than the Steam Deck, but we're going to make our own,
Yeah.
right? And so that starts the discussion. It's like, man.
Like, ooh, handhelds.
Handhelds.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I wonder what that's going to be like. I wonder, who should be making handhelds?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, what if Sony and Microsoft? What if Sony got back into it? What if Microsoft started?
Yeah.
And then Sony goes, hey, we are doing that. We're doing literally
that exact same thing, actually, except different.
Yeah, except different. Do you want to tell them what Sony is planning?
So Sony, basically, PlayStation, we were like, what if the PS5 was a handheld? And they were like, bet, what about we just make an accessory for your PS5 to be a handheld? And I was like, not quite what I was thinking, but okay. So basically, they have this new handheld that's like they shoved a screen in between the two sides of your DualSense PS5 controller, and you can do remote gameplay.
Yes, that is the very weird thing about this, because, I feel like that's not what anyone wanted. Nope. When we talk about remote play, first thing, that's a feature. I think most people don't even know what the hell remote play is.
No, I did not know what remote play was until we talked about it. And I know that's probably why Sony is pushing for it, is
that's
because
true.
It's a feature that they want to push. But honestly, the entire reason that I like, and we can get more into this when we talk more specifically about the new handheld PS5 accessory thing, the whole point about mobile gaming or being able to hold it is that you can do it wherever the hell you want.
Yes, that is so nice. But with remote play, it kind of...
You have to have Wi-Fi,
yes,
and it has to be good. And your PS5 has to be in rest mode, not all the way turned off. And let me tell you, I'm a weirdo, and I can't stand when, lights are on at night for, no reason. So when I'm trying to lay down in bed and my PS5's just, lightly glowing orange in the background, I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. So
I leave my PS5 on all the time. It's always on.
Yeah, his PS5's not even on rest mode. It's just on.
It's just on. It's either on or it either put itself into rest mode. I'm like, what are you doing, boy? And I turn it back on.
Get up. Get back up.
Get back up.
That's what you do to your PlayStation. I don't know, yours is on fire.
This thing's gonna break someday, but I'm gonna get a PS5 Pro when that comes out. A good way to waste some money. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. The second thing we'll be talking about in this podcast today is obviously we got some gameplay for Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom recently.
Yes.
And so we're gonna get into that, and if we think Zelda as a franchise is doing enough.
Yes, is it doing enough? Is it changing enough?
And then what's the third thing we're going to talk about, baby?
DiablO. It's it's coming out, and super excited. We never played. Well, I played Diablo 3 a little bit, but we've never been into Diablo.
Yeah,
and so
that was the first time I'd ever played Diablo.
And what did you think?
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. It was like, wow. Like, we both were like enamored with.
Oh, I was addicted to this game for a weekend and have been in a depression since the beta got taken away. And then today I was reminded of that. I think there's so many games and different things coming out in the next like 3 months that I'm getting the dates confused. So I thought Diablo was coming out in May, and then you were like, what? This comes out like June 10th, and I was like, as if I wasn't already depressed.
Well, it was like, okay, Zelda's coming out. I just got done talking about how I felt like nothing was coming out in May, and I was like, oh wait, Zelda's coming out. This is actually great.
Yeah. Along with Redfall.
And in Redfall, and then we were just talking about how June was stacked, and you're like, yeah, Diablo's coming out in May, and I was like, no, remember, June's stacked with games. You're like, no. But back to the main topic of today's discussion.
So before we get into really getting into like the more recent news about handhelds, I kind of want to go over, let's just debrief, baby. What is your history with handhelds?
I have a long history. It started when I was born.
What?
I was handheld. I was a baby. I didn't know where I was going with that, and I was like, wait, okay, this is where I go with this. This is where I go.
I was like, you technically handheld a controller, but that's not a handheld.
Yeah. So, when I was young, I had a Game Boy. The Game Boy was good to me.
Which
it was
one, the
cool.
Game Boy Advance?
It was a Game Boy. I don't really...
Was it the one that flipped up and down?
No, it was like a normal.
It was like a big like board.
No, it was like more like, I don't know. I have kid brain right now.
Okay,
like,
fine.
I was so young at that point that like there was no I barely remember that existing.
That's fair.
And so then I have a DS, and I play Super Mario 64, or it's not Super Mario, but just Mario 64 and all these amazing games on the DS. I love my DS. Not as much as maybe you or a lot of people love their DS, but I was just like, wow, this is great. But my first love, PSP, PlayStation Portable. My brother had one, and I would always want to steal his, but I was never able to. He would just show me, and I was like, oh, I want it so bad. So what I did is I prayed to Santa, not God. I didn't believe in God.
Like, what?
I believed in Santa. And so I prayed to Santa. I remember sitting by my big window. I did like
from The Secret, like
from The Secret, or like a Catholic does when they're praying to God. I went full hands together, and I said, Santa, I would do anything. As my parents were like, there is no way, we do not have the money for this. And it made perfect sense. We didn't have a lot of money. And there was already all these other presents. So it was like, how are they going to give me these other presents and a PSP? Like, there's no way. So I prayed. I remember the night before, because I was like, please, anything. Go through all the presents. And then it wasn't there. And I was like, wow. Like, I'm happy. I was grateful as a kid. So I was like, I'm just happy I got my stuff. But, like, it would have been great to get a PSP. But I did notice, like, I got a little bit less stuff than I thought I was going to get. The next thing you know, my parents, wait, there's one more. And they pull out this brown wrapped, like, it's like wrapped in like brown parchment, not parchment, but like just this brown
like the
paper.
Fancy, like, kind of like Santa wrapping, where like it looks like little elves like wrapped it with like brown paper.
Yeah, it's just like it's like brown paper and like twine or like little like ropey stuff.
Very cottagecore.
Yes, very cottagecore. It was like made it seem like it was really from Santa. And I was like, no way! I knew exactly what it was. It was like, I immediately knew. It was like, there ain't no way I'm pulling this out, and it's another just like
childhood, like, key memory.
It's a core memory in my brain now, and getting that, playing Ratchet and Clank. First thing, playing Ratchet and Clank. That's where I first loved Ratchet and Clank, was from the PSP. And so I got a ton of games on the PSP, and I had the greatest PSP library of anyone ever on this planet. It was so good. And then eventually, I was a broke kid. I was a dumb kid. I sold my PSP because I was like, I want a Vita. here's the thing, not a bad option because I also love the Vita. I had a great Vita library. Vita was great. All this different stuff. But what was happening? What was happening at the same time as the Vita?
I don't know.
The 3DS.
Oh,
everyone had 3DS.
yeah.
Everyone ranted about the 3DS.
That's tough.
And, you know, I felt left out, you know. And Sony started like not supporting the Vita.
Did you sell your Vita for a 3DS?
I did. Wait, no, actually, no. No, it was the... Or was it that way? Okay, now I'm getting mixed up. I can't remember if I sold for a Vita, then sold my Vita for a 3DS, or if it was the other way around.
I didn't know you ever had a 3DS.
I did. That's how I played Fire Emblem. That's why I first loved Fire Emblem, was from that. The only 2 games I loved on the 3DS was Fire Emblem and Mario.
It was like it was like Super Mario Bros.
Yeah,
something.
One of the side-scrolling ones.
For the DS, yeah.
And I was just disappointed with that. And so I was like, get this out of my face. Because I only like those 2 games. And I was like, the Vita's better. The Vita's better. And it was better. It's a better console. I'm going to stand by that.
I'm better.
I am better. So that is my history. What is your... So I'm more of like a PlayStation...
No, you're not done yet.
Simp handheld.
There's a handheld that came after that we all kind of like to trash on now.
Okay. The Switch. Yes. Okay. You know what? This is a good intro because the Switch has brought in a new form of gaming. What form of gaming is that? Like the major console gaming, like the big quote unquote AAA games, like the big Mario Odyssey, these big games. It brought in that era instead of like, oh, you have the main console and then you have games made for this side less powerful console. Because obviously you had a PS3 and a PSP. So weaker games, like not weaker, but less graphically intense games were made for the PSP. But now we're getting into this phase of handhelds that are like, they're competitive with, you know, the main consoles and PCs and stuff. Because all you have to do is just play the games on lower resolution, lower settings and everything. But now I'll throw it over to you. Throw it over to you.
So, I have a much more extensive history with handhelds. I think from the furthest I can remember of gaming, my first experience with gaming period was with the Game Boy Advanced.
Yeah.
Which was the flippy one. I had my own. I'm trying to currently find it. I think it's in my dad's garage somewhere. It was silver.
Oh,
I had like a couple games for it. Like nothing crazy. I was like a kid, so like I think I remember having like a Dora game on it, and I also had but I had a couple other. There was like, I think like I could watch like there was this one card, and I don't remember what was on, but I think it was like half Ed, and Eddie, and half Billy and Mandy.
These games,
but like they were also like, but I think it was like, I don't even know if it was like a game. I think it was like a show. I remember rewatching it like a billion times. It was super weird.
Oh yeah, I think they did have like show games that weren't even games. They were just like the show.
It was just like the show.
Okay.
And like and then I had one of those, and so I watched Ed, and Eddie all the time on my Game Boy Advanced. Mm-hmm. And then I also had the Game Boy, and I'm not gonna remember the name of it, but it was the little Game Boy. The little one that was like tiny, like that like tiny screen, but like, you know, you could throw it in your back pocket. Okay. And that one I did play more, because, you know, like the Game Boy Color, or not Color, sorry, the Game Boy Advance was at my dad's house.
Okay.
The little Game Boy that I had was at my mom's house, and that's where I played like Super Mario, like the original Super Mario Bros. Like 3 and 2 and something like that. And that's where I originally got my super big love for Mario. And then for years, my older sister Drew, much like kind of like your brother, had the PSP. Drew had the original DS.
Oh, okay.
Not the DS Lite, the original DS.
The OG DS, yeah.
And the clunky silver one. And she played Animal Crossing, like the original Animal Crossing for the DS on it all the time. And we had a GameCube, and we had, you know, other things, but we're talking about handhelds right now. Yeah. But I had experience with, you know, Animal Crossing on the GameCube before, and I was like, oh my god, I want to play that on the DS, and I would always ask to play her Animal Crossing, and then I would take it when she wasn't looking. And then she also had Mario Kart, the original Mario Kart for the DS on the original.
That's big.
And so, which is, you know, very, if you know, and you'll find out more about me throughout this series, but like, I love Mario Kart, and we would play the crap out of the game. And then eventually, it was just like me, Drew, and Justice at first before the twins were born. And eventually I got a DS Lite and Justice got a DS Lite. And then we would play Mario Kart, the original Mario Kart DS. That's like one of the only games I played. Like for years was that and Animal Crossing on the DS. Oh, and Nintendogs.
Nintendogs.
I love Nintendogs.
Wow.
And I got a DS Lite. Okay, so this is like a small funny story about my DS Lite journey. I got this really bright pink like little DS Lite, and we lost it. No clue where it went. We moved, we didn't know where it went, and then I was like, what the heck? And so my mom eventually, like a year went by, couldn't find this DS Lite. And so for Christmas, I got another one, and it was a different color, still pink. It was like, oh, thank God I have a DS Lite again, I can play my DS games.
Yeah, great.
And then I was starting to play more Mario. I was playing Yoshi's Island on the DS. That was a lot of fun, where you're carrying baby Mario and baby Luigi. Like you're like their stork.
Man, I couldn't deal with that game. Man.
And it was hard.
Made me mad.
And
like, that's my first malding experience as a kid.
Yoshi's Island. But then eventually we found the old DS that we had lost. It was like deep in the couch. It was like under the fabric, like in between. Like I don't know how my mom found this DS. And so this is when I was like 8 or 7. Okay. And I didn't know how electronics worked. Yeah. And, she pulls out this DS. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I found it. Now I have 2 DSs. Yeah. Not 30 minutes later, I took this DS and was like, man, this thing is dusty and crusty. Like, this
dusty?
No, it was. Because it was probably in the couch for over a year. Yeah. And it was so gross.
It was the legendary dank DS.
And I did not know how electronics worked as a kid.
Yeah.
And as a 7, 8-year-old, I stuck it under the sink. And I washed it.
Okay, wait. Hold up. Under the sink? Okay, even I would be like, wait, what? I would have been 7, like, what are you doing?
It stopped working. And I was like, I tried to play Yoshi's Island on it. And it stopped working. I remember being like, why it's not working? Was it the water? I don't understand. Like, listen, you grew up with a parent that knew about technology. Okay. I did not. Okay. And so no one was, and so I bring it to my mom, like, I don't understand why my DS isn't working. I got it, like, it was, it was dusty, it was crusty, I went to wash it, and now Yoshi's Island isn't Yoshi's Islanding.
So wait, was your mom like, I don't know?
No, my mom was like, are you, like, she was so mad.
Oh, God.
And so, because, obviously I had my own DS, but, like, we just had another one, and then I broke it.
Yeah, that would have been great for, like, I don't know, Justice.
I
or, like,
think that thing had to dry for 5 years.
It works now?
It works now.
Oh,
but
man.
for years, you would play it, and then it just shut off. Like you could turn it on for, like, a second, and then it would shut off. And so now, like...
The moisture, like, evaporated
I think
out
so.
of it, yeah.
And so, anyways... That's my funny story about DS Lites and handhelds. So after I get that DS, I get the other DS Lite, break the old one. Then I got, I think I was like 11 or 12. I was in 6th grade when I got my 3DS, the purple one, not the DS XL, just the original 3DS, and I was in love with it. I still have it. The purple is so pretty, and it was like my first thing that I was like, video games, like, and I got the Mario Kart 7, which was like super big for me. I was super excited for Mario Kart 7. And I played a lot of games on the 3DS. I played one of my favorites that I put so many hours into was Animal Crossing New Leaf. That was the big Animal Crossing for the 3DS.
I think that was my first Animal Crossing. I think that was my first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I tried that out and I was like, I don't understand the hype. Of course, that was like back when I was addicted to like God of War 3. I don't know, like games like that. So Animal Crossing just went over my head back
then. There was
then.
also like a big Mario game for the 3DS, I feel like, and it's not coming into my head right now.
Yes, it's what's it called?
Was it 3D Land?
Wait, no, 3D Land was for Wii U. 3D Land was for Wii U. I don't know.
I'm not remembering. It'll come to me eventually.
Yeah.
It might have just been the normal like sides, scroll Mario game. But anyway, I had the 3DS for years, and then I was I was the first one of the billion siblings that I have now to get the 3DS. But then I got because I begged for it. I really was the one that was into gaming out of all my siblings when we were kids, and pushing for all the newer stuff. And then everyone else got the DS XL.
Oh, what the hell?
When it came out, because no one had a 3DS for a couple of years. They all had the DSi. They all had the DSi, and I didn't get the DSi for a year. They all had the DSi and I didn't have it. Then I got the first to get the 3DS.
So you were ahead. You're always like off with them,
we were always
like,
off,
boom,
and then
boom.
they all got the 3DS XL and had the big fancy screen and whatever. And I was like, shake my head, like whatever.
Shaking your shake.
Shaking my shake, and then obviously Switch comes out. So when Switch came out, that was kind of a turning point for my family. Of my mom was like, okay, I can't afford to buy you all your own Switch.
Yes.
And we also didn't really know how it worked at first. Like, we didn't know if it was more of a home console or if it was
I still don't know how
handheld.
the Switch works.
And so...
Because, okay, the thing with sharing games on the Switch is so jank that I don't understand how that works. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Well, and we did not know how it worked, and so it was really up to like me and like Justice, my younger sibling, to figure out all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually, and we had it for years, and we all just kind of like we would play it as a family for the most part. Really, the only person who played a lot of the games on it was Justice.
Yeah.
And this was during a time in my life, because this was like 2016, right? And so I was
2017.
Okay. And so I tried to play Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild on it. I was super excited to, but then Justice started playing it a bunch and I kind of fell off. And I was also at a point in my life where I had not played a lot of games like that, so I was just confused.
Yes.
I did not know, like, that's where like my video game knowledge was like,
Well,
like
that's a game, because that game's kind of a sandbox, and it is just like, have fun, do whatever you want. It's like a real, it can be a rough game if you're like, just like, oh, I just want to get back into gaming. And then you play that, you're like, wait,
well,
what am I doing?
Up to that point was like Animal Crossing, New Leaf, a bunch of Mario games, like Mario Kart, some Call of Duty, and even I didn't know all that well how much Call of Duty worked. Like, and so
Pokemon, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I just got lost in the sauce, and then for various reasons, I fell out of gaming for like years.
Yeah.
Until we got together, and then I got right back into gaming, and then
now you're deep.
No, I'm deep. No, I'm
you're
freaking deep.
Deep.
Freaking balls deep into this.
She's
stuff.
like, should I say this? You know what? I'm balls.
I am. I kind of found my love for the Switch again. I bought myself a Switch to play games. I've not used that as much as I would have liked to, but I bought it because of COVID, and I played a lot of Animal Crossing during that time.
You got something better.
And then I got something
way better
more recently. Actually, this year, I was like, I feel like I've always kind of wanted to get into indie games, but for a long time I was like, I don't know if indie games are my thing.
Yeah.
And then I realized that a lot of games weren't really my thing, unless I could play them conveniently.
Yes.
And I got a PC, and I wasn't really enjoying it as much as I wanted to. And I got the PS5, I got the Xbox Series S, and then I was like, there's still something like there that I love playing these games, but I don't know, like, I'm not really good at, like, I don't see myself sitting and playing an indie on my Xbox.
When we got, the whole ideology was, and this is kind of going back into this whole talk with handhelds and what makes them special.
Yes.
Is, when we got the PC, it's the whole thing people say, like, PC has everything. Every game, all the new indies, and has Microsoft games. It only doesn't have Nintendo and Sony, but everything else, it has everything else, right? Cool story, bro. But it is a little bit more formal to play it, right?
Yeah.
Like, even a console is more, you're on your couch, it's more relaxing. So, right, PC gaming's, when she got into it, it's like, I
was also still like, as much as like I've been a gamer my whole life, it was me coming into like a whole new world of gaming that I was so behind. Like, I've been outdated, like, at this point. And so I got this PC. They're like, oh, yeah, I'll get all these games on Steam. And I'm like, why do I care? Like, I don't, like, I'm so lost. I didn't even know where to start. And, like, for a lot of reasons that I won't get into, I just didn't even know where to start when it came to, like, looking for the games that I wanted and whatever. And I couldn't figure out. I was like, there was something there for a long time that wasn't clicking for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like I would like this game if I could just play it more relaxed.
And the Series S and the PS5 both did that to some degree for you.
Yes.
But then when it came out, especially with the indies, there was never like that push to like, let me play this indie on my PS5.
If I'm gonna sit on my couch, like, it almost felt wrong because I was like, if I'm gonna sit on my couch and play a game, why am I not playing God of War?
Yeah. Why am I not playing this big AAA game I can only get in this experience?
And so I'm like, why would I take the time to sit down and play like freaking, I don't know,
like Celeste or Hades or any of these great games,
which I did love Hades.
You were behind on so many AAAs that you felt like you should be playing those.
Yes.
And then that brings you to your decision to...
Yes, I bought a Steam Deck.
A Steam Deck.
Like, I bought a Steam Deck almost a year after it came out, and I was super, like, I was like, oh man, should I get this? Is it going to be a waste of time? And, you know, I saw reviews, and they all looked pretty positive. I ended up getting the 512 gigabyte one, so it's, like, the most expensive one. But I'm kind of one of those, I'm like, I'd rather spend the money and just know that I have storage for days. Yeah. You know? I learned how to emulate games. That was a big thing for me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I thought emulating games was impossible.
A big thing for you, a big thing for me, right? She emulates these games, and I'm like, the first thing you have to put on this thing, God of War on the PSP. We need God of War from the PSP on. I haven't played.
That was like the biggest game that I had to emulate.
I was like, please, just like get this PSP emulator just for this. And then of course you're like, of course. And so experiencing, but you don't understand. The PSP, okay, it didn't have the best because it had like a weird like rotating nub for the left one and then a normal stick. I don't know why I didn't just have two normal sticks. I digress. It felt like the Steam Deck, it almost felt nostalgic. Like I had like played it before. I was like, whoa. Like,
yeah, no, the Steam Deck was, I'm just going to say it, the Steam Deck's one of the best purchases I've ever made.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, I feel like a lot of people that I've listened to their videos, and like at first they're like, I don't know, what, like, I'm not sure. And then they just play with it for like a few weeks and are like, holy crap. Like, this is it. Yeah. And that's how it's been for me. And, like, I've played so many more games than I ever would have. Not just indies. Like, I've been able to run Elden Ring on my Steam Deck very well.
Yeah,
like,
and you
not
played
even
Kenna.
like, and I've played Kenna. And I was able to get Xbox Cloud Gaming working on the Steam Deck.
And weirdly enough, at least Fortnite, because you assume, like, there's a lot of servers for Fortnite because it's like the biggest game in the world right now. With Fortnite, no lag. We could just play on the couch, like me on the console, her on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, the input lag is not. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Like, I could play Fortnite with him while I'm like at work on lunch, and then you hear on your PS5 and it'd be fine.
Yes.
And so anyway, and obviously playing emulated games was like, that was an opening door for me because I was like, oh, I can go back and play the Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Game Boy Advance.
And it was great. Once we figured it out, there was a weird frame rate
There was a weird frame rate
where
issue.
It was like playing insanely slow, like 50% speed, all the sound effects
it was super. It sounded like because at the beginning there's like the
music.
Like, music that's like boom, 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 but it was like boom.
It was like scary.
Boom. But then we found out that the frame rate just needed to be higher.
Yeah,
for the emulated games, and I was like, oh, okay, that's
fine. It was weird. It was like it needs to be at 60 for the emulated games, or it like. We had it at 30 for Elden Ring because we needed. But we digress.
Anyways,
so that was our history.
That's my history with. To summarize my history, it has brought me to. I love handheld gaming, and it did something for me that a lot of consoles have not been able to because I just like to be cozy. I like to curl up in a ball in the corner of my bed and read a book. Same thing for gaming. That's how I like to game. That's what I like to do. I just like to be comfortable. And like, if I'm not comfortable, I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So, which brings us to Asus.
Asus. So, Asus is making this.
Also, how do we say? Is it Asus or Asus?
I say Asus.
I also say Asus.
But we should say Asus because it's more funny. Asus Rog. Rog.
Rog.
Is it Rog or is it Raj or is it?
I think it's
Rogue
Rog.
or
I think
is
if it was two G's, it'd be Rog, like Roger.
You already know I'm not going to say Republic of Gamers. That sounds
cringe.
I'm
a part of the Republic of Gamers.
Who did this marketing? Republic of Gamers. That was definitely a businessman. He said, you know what? Our Asus gaming branch, we will call it the Republic of Gamers.
Salute.
So they're making this handheld. It's called the Asus Ally Rog. and so basically we have like no idea of the specs or anything of it. What it looks like is it looks like a white Steam Deck. It has like LEDs because LEDs gamer. I love LEDs, so it does apply to me. I'm making fun of it, but it makes me want to buy it.
Meanwhile, in the background,
yeah, LEDs all behind me. Oh, my computer. Oh,
you don't see the LEDs behind his TV.
Yeah, the LEDs behind my TV. Yeah,
he is a gamer.
That has LEDs around like the sticks, and it has 2 back buttons on the back of the system, and they're going for 1080p 120 hertz.
Yes.
And so here's the thing. Here's the best thing about the Steam Deck is that it is a console that costs base price I think $350.
It's like $400, I think.
It might be $400, right? So base price below a PS5 or Series X.
Most you can spend is like close to $800, which is what I spent.
Yes.
That's after tax.
You can play a lot of the newest games like Elden Ring on medium to low, and older games like PS4 games, medium to high, on this handheld console.
Well, that's the thing is, even though
right?
mine was the more expensive one, the only difference between my Steam Deck and the lowest cost one is the amount of storage. If you committed to your Steam Deck only having Elden Ring on it, like,
or you put SD,
or you could put more storage onto it, and people have done it and successfully.
Yeah,
like you could run Elden Ring on it just fine. And so like having that cheap option, like someone did mention that the reason why Steam can make it so inexpensive is because the Steam store being on the thing kind of pays for itself.
Well, that's here's the thing. That's not an argument.
But I was like, that's not.
Here's why it's not an argument. Is everything works that way.
Yep.
PlayStation sells the PS5 at a loss because they know they'll make their money up through the sale of games. Xbox sells the Xbox at a loss because they know they can make money through Game Pass and game sales.
Exactly.
The same thing with Nintendo. All these
I guess Asus is the only one that it's like they don't have a library.
Yeah, they don't have a library.
So that's the one thing that like they might have to make it more expensive because they don't have a library. I mean, unless they partner with Microsoft and they're like, hey, yo, give me some of that.
Here's the thing.
Game Pass money.
That's what's happening. It already is branded and paired with Game Pass. That's the next thing I want to talk about with this is that they are doing close partnership with Game Pass to make sure it is immediately Game Pass like capable of using that service and stuff, which is nice because the Steam Deck isn't, and you need to like install Windows and do all this weird stuff to be able to use Game Pass.
And although I love that Xbox is trying to make cloud gaming this big thing, there are a lot of games that are not optimized for cloud gaming. Like, okay, here's a funny thing. I was able to play Fortnite very successfully on cloud gaming through my Steam Deck, like using the browser basically that I turned into an app. Disney Dreamlight Valley runs like shit.
Yeah, if your game isn't popular,
cloud gaming.
if your game is not popular, it's not going to run well. And even if you have a good internet service, sometimes the servers they have are far, and then it doesn't run good.
Yeah, and so I will say for me, that was a little bit of like, oh damn. Like I'm very happy with my purchase and I do not regret it at all. But there's also like, so baby, you're gonna have to get the Asus, whatever the fuck it was called.
But here's the thing: am I gonna get it? Because here's the thing: it's going for a 1080p screen.
Yep.
It wants to have 120 hertz. I can't see past 80 frames a second, so I don't care about that. The 1080p is nice, whatever.
Especially on such a small screen, like I cannot tell the difference.
And so, this console, more likely than not, is probably going to cost like
$1 billion.
Well, it's probably going to cost 800, 900, 1,000, something like that. I'm thinking. I could be completely wrong, guys. The thing is, there are other Steam Deck competitors who are at that price range, and it reminds me of those competitors, where those competitors have 1080p screens. They have these nicer things. They are a little more powerful than the Steam Deck and stuff. But guess what? Who cares when it's $800? Then it's an enthusiast thing. While the Steam Deck, something that's at max 600 and below is way more available to your average consumer.
Well, and it's like there's 3 levels to the Steam Decks. There's like the 400 one, the 500 to 600 one, and then like the $700 one, which is what I got.
Yeah.
And like, and that's because I knew I wanted it. Like, but there's not like some people just want to be able to play indie games, like if like, okay, let's say I only played indie games. I don't, but like if I was only getting this thing because I wanted to play indie games, I would just be like, go get like the most inexpensive one.
Of
because
course,
there's no reason to. You just get some extra, like, indie games don't make your system chug.
Yeah.
And so you don't even need that much storage for it, or just get some external storage to store the files or, you know, space on. And so it makes the Steam Deck very accessible.
Yeah.
But when you have like, and of course they have not come out with pricing, but if they're going up with all these super high prices and then they have Game Pass on it, I'm like, I can't see this thing base price being any lower than like $7.99. I'm calling it right now, $7.99.
And here's the thing: if this thing was like $6.50, that would be an instant like consideration for me, because since her Steam Deck, now I'm like, man, like I eventually would like something like that.
No, yeah, because he uses my Steam, like, he wasn't even considering getting a Steam Deck at all.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it at all.
He thought it was a cool thing, but I'm the more, like, I really like handheld gaming, and that was really solidified when I didn't realize how, like, I just, like, got a blast into my whole childhood when I got really into the Steam Deck and was like, oh my god, I love handheld gaming. And then you started using it when I'm not using it and are like, oh my god, this is great. So nice.
Is amazing, yeah.
Like, the idea of both of us being able to, like, and we've done this before, like, to go to, like, when we're on an airplane or when we're out or, like, something like that, we go to a park and play, like, because we do stuff like that. We would do stuff like that if we both had a Steam Deck. It's just nice. It's just nice to have that, but I just don't see this thing being, like, I think it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be expensive.
It's just gonna be expensive.
And so that's why when I heard a Sony handheld, of course my media, oh my god, Vita, like,
it's a PS Vita,
another Vita, all that different stuff. Like, it would, like, that was going through my mind at first, and I was like, here, dial it back, probably not a Vita, or anything like that. And I'm like, okay. And then also, we had just had a discussion of what if they made a handheld that it wasn't a separate thing like a Vita or DS. It was like a Steam Deck where, right, when you get this Sony handheld, you can play God of War Ragnarok on it. It might look worse. It might look...
Well, yeah, you just, like...
The frame rate's like 30 and, you know, all the assets and the resolution's lower. Everything's, like, lower, right?
But you can play
But you can play Ragnarok on it, and you can play all these great, like, indie games. You have the PlayStation Store on it. Yeah. It's awesome, right?
And we literally were talking about this the day before.
Yes. So when I heard this news in the morning, I was like, I'm in the PlayStation gang, let's go. And then I hear it's a freaking remote play.
It's the Wii U.
It's the Wii U again. No, but, like, seriously. Okay, I've talked about this. Remote play is cool and all, but who's this product for? Because you can use remote play on your phone. And if you want, you can connect the backbone or a regular controller to your phone and play remotely like that, right? And the only place that has a strong enough connection is, like, let's say, like, my house. What's also at my house? A PS5. It negates it only is useful if, let's say, I'm going to your house. Yeah. But the second we live together, there's no reason to have it, because at a hotel's Wi-Fi, at plain Wi-Fi, you can't even use them. There is no way you can play remote play without insane lag and like it being hard. And like we mentioned earlier, your PlayStation has to be in rest mode. Yeah. If it's off, it won't work. So if you accidentally turn off your PS5 and you're like, I'm not turning it off. I'm not turning it off. That's something I would do. And also, I will say that's where me and you are different. Because obviously for you, it's the, like, going out and, like, taking it somewhere else and the Wi-Fi not being great. And for me, I would still personally have a use for that. Yeah. Just for the sheer fact of, like, I could go into my bed, into the other room, lay down, and play a game. And, like, even though to some people, like, well, just go sit on your, like, are you that lazy? You have to go from, like, you don't want to sit on your couch. You have to go lay in bed to go. I'm like, yes, I am. That's how I want to play. Everyone's different. Because there's some people out there who's like, man, you're saying it's too hard to sit at your desk. You're in your gaming chair? Yeah. It's made of leather? It's like, well, yeah, I want to be on my couch and stuff. And on a big screen, yes. Guess what? My gaming chair isn't ergonomic. Like... So... The thing is, the thing that negates all of this kind of is the price, because if it is only for remote play, and hopefully we don't know if it's going to have cloud gaming, but it probably will. It would be so weird if it didn't have that, but I'm pretty sure it will. It's going to be based on the price.
Yes.
Because if it's $150 or at max $200, that is a consideration.
I think it sells. I think it, but well, if you think about it, granted this is different, but I mean it will have haptic like triggers and like all that different stuff that the controller already has. But obviously you have the screen there now.
That makes
me
scared.
Xbox. Well, and the Xbox like Elite controller.
Yeah.
Is like $200.
But it makes me scared because a PS5 controller is like $70.
I know, and then you put a screen on it.
You put a screen on it. You put a battery in it. You put some sort of processor in it, and then I'm like,
how much is this thing gonna be?
Is this thing in Sony with their price? The PSVR is $500. You have to buy a $500 console and then buy a $500 VR headset. So it's like, I could totally see them being like $350. It's like a Switch.
Yeah,
it's like,
no,
it's not like a Switch. This is not a Switch.
It's like the gamepad for the Wii U.
Yeah, and so like it depends on what the resolution of the screen is. Obviously, if there's less internals, because it's just for like remote play.
Yeah.
And the cloud gaming, maybe that means a really big battery for a lot of battery life.
If it is more than $200, I will not be buying it.
Yes, if it's more than $200. You can count me out. You can send me one for free. I'll review it.
But I'll review it. But no, if it's more than $200, I'm too broke for that. Like I already spend the money on the games on the console. If the cost is lowered on the PSVR 2, then I might buy that. But and they might have to because the sales haven't been doing as well as they wanted to.
Well, they're looking to lower the price, and honestly, the right price for a VR headset, I think the right price is $300. I do think that's too low for what the VR, like, that'd be a lot they'd be losing on with that product. I would like to see at least at $400. At $400 was like, okay, it's gonna be expensive, but you know, $500 was just too much. That's just too much.
Well, and it's like there's a lot more that goes into a VR headset than
like buying games,
like than a handheld. You know, like I mean, okay, I am an engineer, but I'm not that kind of engineer.
Okay,
I can imagine there are a lot more things that go into creating a virtual experience headset than a handheld, like, you know, remote, like, screen. And so, and I saw a comment somewhere earlier that was like, what's going to incentivize people to buy this instead of using the backbone on their phone? And I thought that was a great question. And my answer is I'm hoping, and obviously this is all, I get my perfect price of under $200.
Yeah.
They have an OLED screen. Something that makes the viewing very nice.
Here's the thing. If I had OLED, that would actually be a huge selling point for me. That might bump up, like, I'll go to $250 because OLED is a huge. Like,
it looks so nice.
The color's so nice on OLED. I don't have an OLED screen or monitor. I only get to see it in, like, when I go to Costco.
When I go to Costco, and we're like, man, OLED Switch
one day,
nice.
One day OLED.
Or we're looking at the TV, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, so
looks more real than real life.
It really does. Let's get the atoms.
I can see the atoms.
But. Yeah, I don't know. That would be huge for me. For it to be OLED or something.
I think that would be that if they're smart about it, I feel like that's the selling point, because otherwise, why would you not just get a backbone and do
Here's the reasoning. There's a lot of people who, to them, their phone's their phone. You know what I mean?
And
their phone's not a place for gaming.
I understand that.
And so
that, and I'm like,
it's even for me, like the idea of buying an $100 basically controller to put onto my phone that's gonna drain my battery.
Yep. That's the big thing for me, is it's gonna drain my battery, and I'm worried that playing games on phone, cool. If I live somewhere that was maybe more like, okay, I have a Steam Deck, I'm never gonna play games on my phone.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like if I didn't have a Steam Deck and I lived somewhere where I took more like public transportation, that might be cool to me.
Yeah.
But if there's the other option to not do that on my phone, like, because I don't know why I feel like playing games on my phone, I'm afraid it's like somehow gonna destroy my phone. Like, my phone won't be able to handle it and blow up.
See, this makes you wonder, what is internet connectivity in places like, okay, Japan, transportation's huge. That's why the Switch and the DS and all those things were so big in Japan. Same thing with Europe, right? A lot of transportation, public transportation things there. So it makes me wonder, what is the, like, data or Wi-Fi or whatever connectivity they have, you know, on buses and all these, and trains, all these different places. What is it like? Like, is it good enough for this? Because I feel like maybe that's the markets they're aiming for. Maybe they aren't aiming for the US market for, maybe this is more of a product aimed at Asia, aimed at Europe. But I don't know. I don't know that lifestyle. I'm not a part of that life, G. Not my life.
The one thing I wanted to make a comment on before we move on to our next subject, because we could ramble about handheld gaming for forever.
Well, we're not even close to done with this subject, because there's something else we gotta talk about with this.
What is it?
Is if Xbox shit. Is it,
wait. Before we talk about Xbox, before we talk about Xbox
Xbox, okay.
I did want to say the one thing I'm concerned
that
no one has brought up, surprisingly, with the Asus. At least not that I've heard, with the Asus, you know, Steam Deck, whatever the heck it was called,
ROG,
the Q Lite, ROG.
There's a lot of jargon being thrown out. It's the Asus Ally ROG.
I think the Q Lite was the secret name project for the PlayStation thing.
Okay.
But the ROG,
call it the Ally.
The Ally.
Because the ROG is that's just what they stamp on every gaming thing. The Ally is the actual name of the handheld.
Oh, the ROG Ally.
What about it?
The battery life. Listen, the Steam Deck already does not have it. I will say it, the Steam Deck battery life kind of buns.
Yeah.
But for me, worth it. I just carry around a portable battery. If they're trying to make this thing even more powerful, I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, and here's the thing, in the trailer that they showed for it, they did show it, like, docked at one point, and they kind of had it docked a lot. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, it won't, like, so I'm like, I'm wondering if they're kind of, like, showing that, because then it is actively charging, and it makes me personally worried, like, what is the battery life on this going to look like in comparison to the Steam Deck?
Yeah, it does make me scared, because I think they're trying to market this thing like it's a something instead of having a gaming PC. And here's the thing. While it's cool that there are products for that market and that audience, a gaming PC, you can do work on that. You can, like, when someone's like, oh, I got a gaming PC, like, I'm a college student, got a gaming PC, it's because they know, oh, I can do my homework on this thing. I can
That's why I got mine.
Yeah, business work. I can do all this different stuff, and I can game. But I'm a poor college student. When you get an Asus Ally ROG, you can only play games on that thing. It is a specialty. Well, if you have that sort of money, why aren't you buying so many?
And anyone who gives me the argument of, like, well, technically you can do your schoolwork on the Steam Deck because it's a PC. I'm like, stop. If I see some sweaty nerd in the Washington State University library,
honestly,
pull their Steam Deck out,
that'd be kind of lit. No, I'm
a keyboard. No, I'm like, what are you? And if I'm like, do you have anything else? No,
I'm not throwing heat at them anymore. I'm not going to throw heat at them. I'm backpedaling. Okay, I'm defending the quote unquote sweaty nerds. You know what? This dude said, I don't got a lot of money. I love gaming. I'm gonna, for $350, get a Steam Deck. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it.
You can't say it without
laughing. I'm gonna buy a portable display and do my homework. How dumb you look. but ingenuity, determination. These people are built different. Gamers are built different.
You know how much work you need, like college students have to do on their computers at this point? If someone was like, yeah, I had like $600 to either get a laptop for school or
think about it. Think about it. $600, that doesn't go far with a gaming laptop. Right? You can't get a gaming laptop for $600, right?
You can cloud game.
You can get a freaking Chromebook. You can get a Chromebook. You get a game on a Chromebook? No, you're not. You're not gaming on a Chromebook. But no, you can do. You can buy a portable display and a Steam Deck with a dock and buy yourself a keyboard and a mouse. And that will be the same price. And now you're playing Elden Ring.
Instead of getting your school then.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, but the last part of this discussion, we talked
Xbox.
about all this different stuff, is should Xbox make their own thing? Short answer,
Yes.
no.
No.
Yeah. Okay, you go first. Why do you think they should? Why do they? Because I think there's benefits to doing it. You go first. Why should they? No. You know what? Let me rephrase my answer. I'm gonna backpedal again. Yes.
Oh my god.
But will they? No. That's what I meant. They won't. They will
I was like,
never.
I swear we had a whole phone conversation about this earlier, and you were like, oh man, if Xbox did this, and then you just like 180 on me.
Well, that's
so
what I meant.
fast.
If they, okay, here's the thing. They got Game Pass. That is so perfect. People buy Game Pass. They use it. They use xCloud on it. It's great. You have, let's say you have partnerships, right? Xbox all about the partnerships. You get the Epic Game Store on there. You get the Steam library on there. You get everything on this thing. It's amazing. Super cool, right? And they're making all this money from Game Pass. That sounds awesome. But then I realized something. Why would they do that? Because
that's why they're making this deal with Asus.
Yes, exactly. It's because it's easier for them to not have to produce a product that they then have to sell at a loss and to convince people to buy a Game Pass. And then if it fails, it looks bad for them. Instead, they go, Asus, you take the brunt of the damage.
No,
we'll throw you some money,
Yeah.
and then hopefully we make that back with Game Pass.
I think if Xbox makes a portable device, it won't be for like 5 years. Like, I think they wait.
They'll do nothing.
Well, I don't think they're gonna make one in the first place. They've never made a portable Xbox device before. But that doesn't mean they're not going to try.
Watch this end poorly. 2 weeks later, Xbox announces its the X-Bone.
The Xbox.
Because I thought about the backbone and that, and then yeah. The Asus X Rog.
Oh my god, X Rog.
We put the ROG in the Republic of GOG.
Yeah, for the place.
I am all over the place right now. Well, what do you think? You
I think if they really put effort into, because here's the thing,
Yeah.
Xbox. We know that like I love Xbox, but also like they go through waves. They've been like this for a little bit now. And for those just listening, my hand's pointing down.
For those listening, but I don't think they're going down right now.
But I think
they're on the.
They're like they're dolphins. They're coming back out of the water.
Yes. Because games are coming out finally.
No, they're finally coming out.
Hi-Fi Rush came out. It was great. Redfall's coming out finally. Like, more games are actually... Starfield's coming out. I think it's going to be ass, but...
Yeah, I bet it's
I digress.
out.
I digress. I don't want to make the people angry.
Anyways, I think that Xbox does a really good job at delivering, at least when it comes to their console.
Yes.
Like, I have usually been very satisfied with my Xbox consoles, like Xbox One. I currently own an Xbox Series S, which is like the less powerful version of the X.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with it. It runs great for how small it is. And for that reason, I think it'd be really cool if they did something like that, or created if they create a console though, that's a handheld console, it needs to be able to download the game. And because if Asus's thing is already going, and you can already do cloud gaming from anywhere, basically, from your phone, your laptop, your whatever, like your toilet, who cares? If you can already do cloud gaming from everywhere, and then you can get Game Pass on Asus, like, why have a console, like a handheld console, that you can use, and you can't download games, like buy games, download them. Like, but I guess on the Asus you could already do that, because the Game Pass, you download the game. It's not cloud gaming.
Here's the thing. I think the good thing about this would be you would have the support and everything of Xbox. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what... It's the same thing with like Switch. What's the difference between Switch and Steam and having a Steam Deck versus like instead of just like Nintendo has the exclusives, is that you get that console, that streamlined experience with Nintendo. The thing is, the Steam Deck isn't a good comparison because the Steam Deck actually has a very streamlined
the support is actually very good.
And so I would say the Asus Ally Rog is probably going to be, I don't know, I think it's going to be just a little more obtuse because than like something like a Nintendo or an Xbox or a Sony's like interface and how well the games work. Well, like when you have, if Xbox made a console, they would make sure all the games on Game Pass, you would know if it was compatible or not.
Yes.
I don't know if Asus is going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like Xbox, when they release a product, they will try to make it succeed. I can say that. Because here's the thing. People will come at me. Bro, but the Kinect failed. No,
the Kinect was ahead of its motherfucking time.
Well, I wasn't even gonna say that. I wasn't gonna, you know.
I'm not backpedaling.
I like the Kinect. I don't know if it was ahead of its times. I don't know if it's ever gonna come back.
Oh no, I don't think it's ever. It might come back.
That's why I don't think it's.
I'm saying no one else did it.
Yes. Okay. And it was fun. It was super fun. But when the Kinect won, even though it didn't sell like amazingly, and it was kind of just an enthusiast product, and it was just kind of like a gimmick for kids and all this different stuff, right? They still made a second one, just like when Sony made the PSP, and even though the PSP did sell well, but it was getting beat out by Nintendo, of course. They still made a Vita, right? Nowadays, like, you know, Sony, they're just not supporting their VR stuff, and I don't see the same sort of support with Sony. When something fails with Sony, I feel like they backpedal a lot sooner.
They like abandon ship.
While with Xbox, you know, they support things a little bit more. And the weird thing is that usually things don't go very well for them, and they keep on supporting it for a long time. And so that commitment,
but sometimes it works for them. I feel like Game Pass for a while, like it was kind of big. But like, or it was kind of a thing, but for a while, I was not convinced. I was like, why would I spend $12 a month to play these games I don't care about?
Well, yeah.
But then they started supporting it more. They expanded the library, and obviously now they've freaking bought Activision, and so they're gonna have even more freaking crazy. Diablo 4 is eventually going to be on Game Pass.
Yes, because before it was like, oh, like, okay, you can play like old games and some indies. Why would I want this?
Why don't I play Spyro's Adventure?
No, honestly, and then eventually, because they were like, oh, we're gonna have games day one and all this other stuff. You're like, okay, cool, bro. When you actually release some games, guess what? Now they're releasing games.
And
it's
now
crazy.
It's important.
Now they're buying everything up. Now it's crazy, and I feel like a handheld from Microsoft could do a lot, but they won't do it because, you know, it's just a huge investment. It's just a huge investment.
I think we will find out that when the Asus Rog Ally releases, depending on how supported it looks, I think that will be our answer on whether or not we get an Xbox handheld console from Xbox ever.
Yeah, and
because if it's super supported and like you can download games, you can do cloud gaming, you can get Game Pass, you can do whatever you want, we support it, and they support the like making sure it is like optimized for the Asus like
I don't think it's going to be like that.
I don't think so either. But if they did, then that would be the nail in the coffin. They are not going to be making a handheld.
I don't think they'll do that. Simply because it would have already been advertised more. It's just like a Game Pass thing on the site and stuff. Like they're just showing that you can use Game Pass and that it will be supported. Like they're not. I want to see. This is what I want from Microsoft. Now I've like, is this come full around? I now have my idea. This is what I want from Microsoft. I want Microsoft to pick a company, pair really closely with that, and be like, hey, we want you to basically make, like, I don't know if it's Lenovo, if it's Samsung, whoever it is, Acer, whoever. And they're like, we want you to make a Steam Deck-like thing. It's going to be like a Game Pass machine, right?
Yeah.
It's going to prioritize Game Pass. That doesn't mean you can't have Epic Games and you can't have Steam or whatever on it. It's just its primary function, its primary selling point is the Microsoft Game Store and Game Pass and xCloud. And we're going to give you a lot of money and work very closely with you to give this experience. But at the end of the day, it's a partnership and it's not one company or the other just like stealing the thing.
That was another thing. I can't remember. Epic Game Store, is that going to be supported on the Asus? I think
everything's on. I think on the Asus.
I have to double check.
Rog
The Rog.
Yeah.
The Rog.
But that's all the thoughts. We'll just have to see how this pans out. I'm sure eventually, when probably at the PlayStation showcase in June, we'll hear about the handheld thing. I'm sure Asus will soon enough. They already had a trailer. I'm sure they'll have the specs out like in the next couple months, and we'll probably come back to this conversation.
Maybe Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, maybe Summer Games Fest. Like
not E3.
Because it's obviously going to come out probably, winter. They have an ad, so the Ally is probably going to come out winter this year, at latest spring next year, and then the Sony handheld's probably a next holiday thing. Because that was a leak. That wasn't even news. That was a leak.
Yeah, that was a leak.
Yeah.
And I heard about the timeline before, and I can't remember if they're gonna have that come out before or after the PS5 Pro. And the PS5 Pro is supposed to come out holiday 2024.
Yeah, maybe it was for this holiday in the PS5 Pro is next holiday. I don't remember. All I know is that we like handhelds.
We do like handhelds.
And we hope you guys do too.
Yes. Please let us know what you guys think about the Asus and all the handhelds we spoke about, and maybe what's your favorite handheld. But we're going to move on to our next topic of today's podcast.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to blaze through this topic because I want to talk about DiablO. I don't want to talk about Zelda. Like, I don't know, but the hype level with Zelda right now, it's not there, and
it's like there, but it's not.
Yeah, it's like a weird thing.
It feels kind of forced. I'm not going to lie. Like,
it's more like, oh, it's Zelda.
Like, it's like,
yeah.
Zelda.
Zelda. Honestly, well, Diablo is like demonic. It's like there's a demon in me ready to die in Diablo.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like when I don't know, there's just like this like intensity that the game itself brings.
Yes.
That makes me intense about it.
Yeah. No, I feel that. But we're going to talk about
Zelda
Tears of the Kingdom. So, we got some gameplay recently about
the gameplay. Let me sum it up. Oh, glue. New Zelda game. We got glue. Glue's a mechanic, and guess what? You can swim through boulders. Actually, I love that part. That mechanic was sick.
About not going too hard into game devs before.
This game's been developed for 6 years. Come on, man.
No, we can be. This is the past, and it's developed by like a big ass developer. So
I don't know how many people are on their team, but
5 billion. I don't know.
But I think the system's holding that game back. I think the original Zelda pushed it to its limit.
This isn't a talk about if Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is doing enough. This is actually a talk about whether the Switch is doing enough. And we all know the answer to that is no.
Yes.
The answer is a hard no. I don't need to defend myself or my opinion in any way, shape, or form because everyone has the same opinion. The Switch is outdated. And it needs to be doing more, and we need something new very soon. But that's a whole other conversation for another time. But based off of the gameplay of Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, aside from the fact that we know the Switch is probably holding it back, gameplay mechanics, I enjoyed. I thought that they were very
they look
cool.
good. They look good, and I think it's enough for me to. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I just want to try it either way.
Yeah.
Like.
It's one of those games that's like you can't if you even are remotely interested.
Yeah.
You're like, this is such a big game.
I'm just gonna try it.
And we've been waiting for it for so long. Like, how am I not going to buy it and try it at least? Give it a chance. Give it a fighting chance.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm hyped for it. I hope it outbeats all my expectations. I will say granted. We've only gotten so much gameplay for it. It is coming out in 2 months.
Yeah.
So, a month. And so I would have liked to see a little bit more. But, we don't want to be spoiled on the game, what have you. And I'm excited for the Sky Islands. But one of my big things is, when I get into a game, I kind of want to feel like I'm playing a different game. Not I don't know, for me, it gave me oh, you're in Breath of the Wild, but Link's hair is long now? and there's islands in the sky.
I was gonna say his character design's sick. I love his character design.
Fantastic! I love Link's new character design, but I'm really big. I'm a really big like map person.
Yeah.
I love the way I love a good map. And I feel, and then when they were like, oh, it's the same map from Breath of the Wild, I was like, what the fuck?
The thing is, though, for you never really played Breath of the Wild that much.
I did enough to like explore the map.
Okay.
I did not beat the game, but
actually no, yeah, you did. You talk about the tailed beast.
Yeah, the tailed beast. Whatever they were called. The big old elephant thing that made me stop playing the game. But I went quite a few places, and like, here's the thing. I'm excited because it'll feel like a really great. I think it'll be a great game. And I think if there are an excessive amount of these flying islands and maybe a few new places on the like bottom area, and like things are at least like are very different than they were, as long as it's the same area but it's very different, I will be happy. But if it's like the same area and these flying islands or floating islands are few and far between, I'm going to be kind of upset. Honestly,
at this point, I'm hoping that they're just not showing. They're like they showed us enough stuff to like, oh well, I'm hoping they're tricking.
Make them interested.
No, I'm hoping they're tricking us straight up. I hope that they were like, oh, we gotta show them something. Let's show them some stuff that makes it seem like these are the main things of the game. Like, oh, this glue mechanic, the going through the bolt or the rewinding time. Like, those obviously are main mechanics. But I'm hoping that they're tricking us in the way that when you play the game, it's like, whoa, there's way more enemies than I thought. Oh, there is some more depth to the combat. Oh, the map's actually, like, it's the same base map, but they've added so much stuff, it's basically a different map. Like, there's dungeons in this one.
Yes,
I'm hoping that there's all these...
I was going to bring up. Like, I want good dungeons in this one.
I'm hoping that there's all these things that they do that were...
just, like, knocks your socks off.
Yeah, you're like, man, they did everything I was saying that I wanted, that I thought they wouldn't do, but then they did it, and then they did more. Like... Do I think they're going to do that? No. I honestly don't. I think face value, this is what we're getting.
Yeah.
We're getting just an update, basically.
Nintendo likes to hype up their games as much as they can.
The thing is, I feel like recently we've been shitting on them because the console it's hard to run things on the console. They keep re-releasing things. They're like, oh, Mario Kart, we're just going to DLC for the same one from the Wii U. All this different stuff. But when they do release new games like Metroid Dread, like Mario Odyssey, like when they release new games, it's worthy of the hype that they give it. And that's why it feels distinctly disappointing that so far I haven't felt any of that from this game. When this game was a system seller, this game was a game that transformed game design. Like, this game influenced games like Elden Ring, right?
Yeah. But...
now you're not seeing even the most basic like updates I would think they would add to the game.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those games that I'm tempering my hype for it. I'm excited for it because I didn't play all the way through Breath of the Wild, but I have played through quite a few of the other Legends of Zelda games. Yeah. And so I'm excited for this one. But I'm tempering my hype for it because I feel like there are, and I am so like, I love the optimism. I want to keep that same energy. A lot of people are just like, yes, like, let's get it. It's gonna be the best game. It's gonna be game of the year. All this different stuff. But I don't know. There's like something in me that's like, don't get too excited. And here's the thing. I have that little like child in me that's like, like you said, I'm like, no, they're gonna knock my socks off. Like, I'm gonna doubt them, and they're gonna blow me away. There's gonna be so many things about this game that they didn't say because they wanted to be a secret. Yes. And then that way, when the game releases, it makes it even more hype because they're like, maybe the hype for the game wasn't, but like, we know people are gonna buy this game. Yes. We know people are gonna buy this game, and then they're gonna get it and be absolutely blown away because we did not release like all of the key things about it, and they shouldn't. But also, the things that they have released haven't made me that excited for the game. Yeah,
like, I think there's a lot that goes into whether you should have a positive or negative outlook. Like, a lot of people would just be like, the most like smallest things, oh, it's gonna suck. But no, there's like with Elden Ring, there was people like my best friend Billy was trying to tell me like, man, it like, everyone's hyping it up. It might not even be that good. But
Damn, really calling out Billy.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna call everyone out for their opinions. If you have an opinion, you're gonna tell me. You better back up your opinion because I'm gonna backpedal my opinion.
Because I'm gonna backpedal my opinion.
No, but Elden Ring, I had complete confidence that game was gonna be amazing. Why? Because Bloodborne was amazing. Because Sekiro was amazing. Because Dark Souls 3 was amazing. Bloodborne 2 has a weird development thing, and then Dark Souls 1 was amazing. All these back-to-back amazing games, and then everything we'd seen up to that point looked great. It was like, of course, going to get hyped. Same thing with God of War. God of War was amazing. Everything they showed for Ragnarok was amazing. I loved the whole series. Like, there was nothing to lead me to believe it wouldn't be bad. Same thing so far with, like, Final Fantasy 16. That less confidently because it has less of a good track record. But recently, Final Fantasy 7 Remake was great, and everyone who's demoed Final Fantasy 16 has said that it's amazing. They love it. All the gameplay stuff I've seen looks amazing. It has the Devil May Cry 5 like combat director on it. Like, there's so much to show it will be good. This game's not that. This game, everything we've seen so far, has not been exactly what I've been wanting from a sequel, and they haven't even really shown anything. And it's got delayed a lot.
Yes.
And it's been 6 years since the first game came out.
Yes.
You would expect significant change. Most sequels come out like 2 to 4 years in that range.
Yeah.
Come out, right?
It's been 6 years.
6 years.
Well, and it's been 6 years, and it's also, but really, it's because the Switch is probably holding it back.
Yeah.
They've we know that there's probably been things that they've had to they had to backpedal on because they were like, this would be really cool, except we can't because the Switch isn't powerful enough. And there's
a lot to go into that, like COVID, like who knows, like maybe Nintendo was planning a Switch Pro or Switch 2 or whatever. And because there was rumors of it, there was a lot of rumors of it like 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then
it never happened. And I'm assuming that's from COVID. Instead of OLED model came out.
Yeah.
Or maybe that never existed. We don't know.
Yeah.
All we know is that Zelda looking like some dookie. No. It looks good.
You're gonna make everyone.
I just like making people like, what?
Base.
No, it looks good. It looks good, not amazing though. That's it.
I agree.
Looks good, not amazing. And I hope it's amazing.
I hope it's amazing, and I hope it blows my socks off. But this is the one game that I'm like, I'm gonna temper my expectations so that if it does blow my socks off, I'm freaking hyped as hell.
Hey, but you know what does look amazing?
Is this the segue?
This is the segue. DiablO looks amazing. But you know what also? If you're enjoying what you're hearing, please drop us a follow on your preferred podcast platform. And if you want even more content, consider following our YouTube at girlboygames, our Twitter at girlboygamesyt, and our TikTok at girlboygamesyt for even more hilarious clips. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe.
Thank you.
So, DiablO. That's how we're gonna. DiablO. 4. This game.
Rog.
You mean Republic of Gamers?
4.
This game is truly amazing to me because
Oh yeah.
I was hyped for this game, but then there was part of me that was like, should I be? I liked Diablo 3, but it wasn't like I was enamored with this. Why am I so hyped for this? And then you never play a game like that. So I was like,
I've never played a dungeon crawler before.
I was like, if she doesn't play it, it's going to be so much less hype for me because I want someone to play it with. I never had anyone to play it with except for Javier, but that wasn't as fun.
And like for reference, like, yes, we're a gaming couple. That's why we're making girl boy games. We spend every waking moment together.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time.
We do a lot of separate gaming where like he's playing one thing and I'll play something different. But when we have a game that we can play together,
that's the best.
That's like we're both happy.
Yeah.
Like that's the best experience for us.
100%. And so I was a little bit I just wanted someone to play with. I didn't want to be alone. Not in the hellscape that is Diablo.
We didn't have any other friends that were like, oh my god, Diablo 4 beta or whatever.
And now we've convinced them all.
Oh, yeah.
We liked it. Our friend Armand, he's like, I'm pre-ordering it. And then Billy's like, you know what? I'll get it too. So we're getting the whole squad together.
Yep.
And what did you play in the beta, babe?
I played the Necromancer, and oh
What do you
my
think?
god,
What do
I
you
could not
think?
have been happier.
Yeah.
Like, that was the coolest. For me, it's my first dungeon crawler experience ever.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been better. Like,
Yeah.
could not have been more high. I got addicted to this game for a whole weekend.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm still, like, I'm super into gaming, obviously, like, want to make up my life. But there are a lot of video game types that I haven't played yet, and
Yeah.
it was because I'm I'm finally at the point where you can hand me a game and I'll understand it. But for a while there, I got confused. And I just got lost in the sauce of the game. And that's because I really got a lot of RPGs handed my way and was like, what?
Yeah, but once you got shown, you understand, oh, wait, these are the things that all
RPGs have.
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
all do this
now I know how to do the
menu.
research in a game and, like, figure out how it works. But that aside, so this is the first dungeon crawler I've tried, and I played the Necromancer, and, like, having my, like, army of, like, skeleton guys was so cool, and it was, like, leveled up so fast. I did and I'm, like, such, like, the goth, like, vibes, like, person, and so I was, like, over the moon.
And I felt like such a pleb. I'm like a druid. I'm like this, like, big fat dude with like a wooden stick, and then she has like 16 freaking like skeletal wizards and warriors, and everything's exploding in blood. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, I
over here like,
forgot about that.
Lightning strike.
I forgot about that. I could, like, one of my favorite moves was, like, when you killed something and it turned into a corpse, you explode the corpse, which just explodes, like, the other people around it, turning them into corpses, and it's like a chain reaction. You can keep going.
So
it
great.
was so cool. And I just loved this game. And I was not hyped for this game at all until, like, 2 days before the beta came out. And it's because they did, who was it that we watched that did a gameplay? Was it kind of funny?
I don't think it was.
We watched footage because there was when you
pre-beta.
pre-order you got to play the beta.
Oh
early.
yeah, it was the week. No, it was kind of funny because they were playing.
They pre-ordered the game obviously, and
they got codes or whatever.
And so they got to play the game the week before, and I didn't watch any of that footage until like right before the general public beta came out.
Yeah.
And I was watching it. I was at work, and I was like, doing work, and then having like the stream or whatever, playing the VOD, playing on like the little corner of my iPad, and I was like, oh my, this game looks awesome.
Super fun. What's going on?
Like, I don't even there's so much going on. It looks so cool. And like I was like, graphically, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I was expecting a dungeon crawler like this to look a little bit more like low effort.
Honestly, because I think the best looking game like that, I shouldn't say that, but the best looking game was Diablo 3. I shouldn't say that because I haven't been in this like top down ARPG space. I think it's ARPG for a while, so I know there's like games like Baldur's Gate that looks really good. There's games like I forget the name, Path to Exile, I think, or whatever. Those games look really good, but I think the last maybe mainstream game that looked like that was Diablo 3, and that game looked kind of cartoony and like,
No, in this game, I was like, the first thing I noticed was like, why does this game look like visually so good? I was surprised because that's not what I expected from a dungeon crawler. And then I was like seeing the combat and seeing them all play together like multiplayer, and of course like I see someone with the army, like the Necromancer army or whatever going in, and I was like, man, like this game just looks sick. And so the beginning of the beta was a little rough.
Okay.
We almost didn't continue to play. Because the queue times were like 5 million years long.
Well, it was
not as bad as
I thought it would be.
It wasn't as bad as Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear was horrible.
Yeah, the queue times were like 40 minutes, but it wasn't actually that. The bad part was that you would link up, then you get kicked out of your party, and it wouldn't just kick you to the screen. Then
it would like glitch.
Let me play by yourself. The person who wasn't host gets kicked all the way, and they have to rejoin the queue for like 40 minutes,
like
50
the queue
minutes.
of just like the start of the game period, because it would like glitch and make you say that you were in a party but you weren't, and there was no way to leave said party, and so you had to completely turn off the game, close out the game, and restart it. But, and then obviously when the queue time was like 40 minutes, like having to do that every hour, like, and like we were playing this game all day, so having to do that like every hour was just like, eventually we stopped playing it. But that was on Friday. Here's the thing, and on Saturday it got better.
People say that like the game, like that ruined the experience, or this or that. Guys, this thing's a beta, okay? This is a beta where we only get access to 20 levels, and it's a beta. So I wasn't sweating that much because, yes, most betas I've played honestly run weirdly smooth. But this is the first beta for me that like didn't run super smooth. But then it got fixed really quickly.
They fixed it like the next day. And like there was still a queue, but it was like a minute long.
Yeah.
And so I was like, the fact that in one day they fixed the queue times for the beta, the fact that they even did that made me be like, okay, they care.
Yeah.
Like
they really care.
There are a lot of places like the Guilty Gear queue time, that shit never got better.
No, I didn't get any better.
Like, but they were made by like a smaller,
much smaller team than Activision Blizzard DiablO.
Yeah, and so I was okay with that. But the fact that they fixed the queue times so fast, and it's like, it's not like there were less people playing on Saturday. It was the weekend. There were probably more people playing on Saturday. So and then we didn't get kicked out and all that stuff, or like, no, we did, like once or twice, but then we rejoined the game and it wasn't a big deal.
Besides all this network stuff, this is what I really want to ask you. What was your favorite part of this type of game?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think my favorite part would have to be, obviously, like the combat I think was great. I love being able to play games with you.
Yeah.
I really think it was just like the combat.
Okay.
Like the skill tree mixed with the combat.
Okay, yeah, building your own thing.
Before skill trees, and like this skill tree does eventually get nuts looking.
Yeah.
We didn't get to that in the beta, but like they showed whatever the heck it was called in some of the gameplay and like the end game stuff that they showed recently. That like crazy looking skill tree or whatever. I forget what they are calling it. But I've never had so much fun with a skill tree before, because usually on a skill tree for me, the changes are not very big and I don't really notice them. And so, but this one, it was obvious. Yeah. Like when you made a change on even just like leveling up like one certain move, let's say you didn't change the move slot, you just leveled up that move to the
now it applies poison. The next, you're doing the move and now everyone's green and they're getting like dying.
They visually want you to see that you're moving up in the skill tree on even just that one movement change something.
Yes.
And so for me, I didn't realize how much I needed that from a skill tree. So when I changed, it motivated me to change more things about my character in a skill tree, and made me excited to level up my character, because I knew that I would be making a change that I would be able to visibly see. And like when I'm in combat.
And see, I think that's why for me, even though I do like when all these like creatures go around me, and as like I was a druid, so as like a werebear, I would like slam down, they'll like explode and damage and all this cool stuff. My moveset as a werebear druid felt weak. It felt weirdly weak, and a lot of people were saying that. And here's the thing, because like everyone was saying Necromancer was fucking broken, and that's and it was. But here's the thing, is that everyone's basing the balance off the very beginning of the game, to the point where they're like, can't buy this game unbalanced. When it's like, guys, these are the first couple levels. There are moves with the barbarian, as I also tried out the barbarian, that you do not get until like end game, that are massively changing. Like I saw a move where it's like you jump forward, then 3 spirit barbarian avatars are all doing like basically swinging, doing moves. Special moves and stuff. These are things that they've said like in their game design, that certain classes kind of feel weaker in the beginning and get stronger going forward.
And
does that de-incentivize certain players? Yes. Do I think it's the best game design? No, but I'm saying if you're out here like, oh, I already believe the game's broken, or I'm not going to buy it because my character isn't strong in the first couple hours of the game. It's like, calm down and play the game and get deeper before you make that decision if the game's not balanced.
And I know this is not probably the reason why they released that endgame stuff, but I'm wondering if that's why. Because so many people were saying, like, oh, it's not balanced or whatever. They were like, it gets better at the end of the game. And so that's why I'm wondering they released specifically Diablo for the end game.
To tell the people.
To tell the people, like, it gets nuts.
I want to explain to, like, the listeners, like, and the people on YouTube, what we're referring to is they released a video that was called Diablo endgame content.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to explain it. And so that's what you're referring to.
Yes, sorry.
Is that they went into explanation on, oh, there's all these all the dungeons.
There was
120 dungeons all have a crazy
hard mode
basically, nightmare mode.
Yes,
and
nightmare dungeons.
So all of them, there's basically 240 dungeons because they all get upgraded. And how the loot collection is so important, how much it can really change your character's playstyle. There's so many different things to grind and to look forward to in endgame content that with a game like this, you just can't tell whether it's balanced or whether certain classes are fun until you've at least gotten to the end of the game. Not even participate in endgame content, but just beaten the game with a character.
And I feel like the bar, you even towards the end of our playing session, we're starting to have more fun with the druid, and we were just towards the end of the beta.
Yeah, when I was playing the beta, at first I was like, man, I don't want to play the druid. 5 seconds later, I'm like, man, this is sick.
No, literally,
I'm smashing. This is sick.
Seconds, minutes between each statement. I don't want to play.
I was
I don't want to
play. This character sucks. Backpedal, backpedal, backpedal. This is sick. This is sick. Backpedal, backpedal. This character sucks again.
So that would be back and then forward.
Forward, back and forward.
No, he literally every 2 seconds was when we weren't playing the game, he was like, man, that's not as good as the Necromancer. Necromancer is better. Your character's so cool.
It is better.
And then,
it is better.
But then you would play and you were like, Druid's it. I'm Druid main.
I want to be a Druid main. I saw the doggies and I was like, I can have my own army. The crows, I can have my own army. The dogs suck. And I learned from other people were talking about, they're like, yeah, the dogs are meant just to get the attention of bosses and stuff. They don't really do any damage. They just grab attention. And I'm like, well, your warriors are
and it's
they're
probably
slamming
because,
people.
The druid is meant to do more melee damage.
I know.
Whereas the necromancer is not meant to do melee damage. They're meant to summon things to do the damage for them. Yeah. And the thing this all leads up to is
I was thinking about doing necromancer with you, but I do want to have a distinct I'm this, you're that. And so Billy's going to do Rogue, 100,000%. I knew that before he even told me.
And then Armand was he wants to be the big bonk, right? He said he wants to be barbarian.
No, he said he wanted to be druid because of
the
bear and stuff.
That's right. So then you want to be barbarian.
I'm in debating mode because
sorcerer.
This is the only reason why I'm thinking about not being barbarian. I played it Diablo 3. I liked it a lot, but I've done it, right?
So you want something different.
Yes, and people were saying the sorcerer was on par with the necromancer of this thing's crazy and powerful. So I'm like, broken? Broken? I like the sound of broken.
Pretty cool team of the necromancer, sorcerer, druid, and ranger.
Yeah, because the rogue ranger person would have range / being close. Armand would be in close, and then me and you would be mid range, and then I'm kind of further range, all these crazy spells and stuff. So,
because that's what they were saying, that the sorcerer is a glass cannon.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. So it's gonna be between the sorcerer and the barbarian probably for me. I'd probably do a druid only on a second or third run of the game if I like the game that much. If people have also confirmed that end game druid is awesome. If people are still he's okay, I would not play druid. I need a character, that's why. It's got some sauce. It's got some sauce. And so yeah, I might do 2 characters, honestly.
Why not?
I'm just like, I know we'll play, but there'll be times when we don't play. I want to play by myself.
Yeah.
And so I can be like, I'll do barbarian by myself and source with you.
Yeah.
But now we're getting into the weeds. Basically, you guys understand. Beat Diablo. Great. It seems great so far. And so yeah.
Comes out June 10th.
June 10th. Everyone picked that game up because actually no, it comes out the same day as Street Fighter. You don't want to know why? If you pre-order it, you get it 4 days early.
So I'm pre-ordering.
That's gonna be a rough day. That game, you take that day off. Because we need that whole day.
I'm sick on June 6th.
June 6th, insane. I want to thank you guys for watching so much. Like I said before, if you enjoyed, do all the things. Follow on the podcast platform.
Favorite us or whatever it is on your podcast platform.
Subscribe
Spotify.
on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe or follow whatever it is on TikTok.
Yeah, follow on TikTok.
Definitely on TikTok.
Got some good funny. We'll be making some funny couple shorts.
Yeah, shorts and skits and discussionary things. Lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, lots of more. We'll have short form and medium form content on YouTube. We'll be doing probably a lot of reviews on YouTube. Along with you can watch the VODs of our podcast
and the clips,
on YouTube
like specific topics.
If you want to see the visuals of our podcast, you can find that on YouTube as well.
It looks pretty good. If you guys are listening, we got this nice color, blue, green, aqua green for me because that's my color, and then she has this purple, but it looks like pink on the camera because my camera's kind of booty, trust me, it's purple.
And
trust me.
You can see we have the Lego tall neck behind us, except his head's cut off because the camera doesn't go that high.
Yeah, we got the Donkey Kong bongos.
We do have
that's
the Donkey
important.
Kong bondos. We got Maximilian Dude.
We got Maximilian
over here, to the right of me.
The best streamer on the planet.
He is. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope you guys tune in to the next episode of the Girl Boy Games podcast.
I have been Lucas Leander, the Bearded Panda. Also, if you want, follow me on TikTok and on YouTube at the Bearded Panda, and
I don't think you're the Bearded Panda.
Or it's just Bearded Panda.
Bearded Panda.
Wait, hold on. Backpedal. I'm backpedaling. Okay. Follow me, Bearded Panda, on YouTube and on TikTok. I do a lot highly edited video essays that are super comedic. It's just a comedic video essay on a topic. My last one was addicting games. And as you were saying,
and I am your other co-host, Mele Pentilla, aka melthemaneater. You can find me at melthemaneater on YouTube, on Twitch, and on TikTok, and on Twitter. And for all of those people, all of you lovely nerds who like Magic the Gathering, I make MTG content along with other more kind of cozy but chaotic gaming content and shorts and TikToks. If you want to come say hi to me, please do, and drop a follow and subscribe.
Woo! Oh, yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching, guys.